You've been told that walking is the golden ticket to healthy aging. Get your 10,000 steps, they said. Keep moving, they said. And sure, walking is wonderful. But here's what almost no one explains. After 60, walking alone stops giving you what your body actually needs to stay balanced, independent, and pain-free. In fact, relying only on walking can quietly accelerate muscle loss, leave your joints vulnerable, and set you up for the one event most doctors fear for their older patients: to fall. Right now, across the country, hundreds of thousands of people over 60 are doing everything right. They walk faithfully. They eat well. They take their vitamins. Yet every 30 seconds, another older adult hits the ground. 1 in 4 people over 65 will fall this year. And half of those who break a hip will never return to their previous level of independence. The kicker? Most of those falls happen not because people were weak or sick, but because they were missing 3 specific types of movement that walking simply does not train. Movements your ancestors did every single day without thinking. Movements that build the reflexes, strength, and body awareness that keep you upright when the sidewalk is uneven or the grocery store floor is slick. Here's the truth buried in the research. Your nervous system needs novelty. Your muscles need challenge. Your balance system needs practice in positions walking never touches. After 60, the gap between what walking provides and what your body requires to stay safe widens every month. And that gap is where injuries happen. But the good news is this. You can close that gap in less than 10 minutes a day with 3 simple movements that look almost silly but deliver results most people don't see from an hour at the gym. I'm going to show you exactly what they are, why they work, and how to do them safely starting today, even if you haven't exercised in years. Before we go further, drop a comment right now and tell me your age and where you're watching from. I want to know who's here and ready to make a change. Alright, let's get into it. Now, we're going to cover 3 movements in order of increasing power. Number 3 is the stability builder. Number 2 is the one that fixes the hidden weakness responsible for most falls. And number 1, the movement that comes last, is the simplest of all and the one that doctors say rewires your brain faster than anything else. By the end, you'll have a short daily sequence that takes less time than brewing coffee but protects you better than any pill on the market. Let's start with movement number 3, the sit to stand without hands. Sounds basic, right? You've been sitting and standing your whole life. But here's what most people over 60 don't realize. Every time you use your hands to push off a chair, you're skipping the exact motion that keeps your legs strong enough to catch you when you trip. Research from multiple aging centers has found that people who cannot stand from a chair without using their hands have significantly higher rates of disability and hospitalization within 5 years. The ability to stand up without assistance is one of the single best predictors of how independent you'll be a decade from now. Think about it. Your legs contain the largest muscles in your body. After 60, you lose muscle at a rate of about 1 to 2% per year if you don't actively challenge it. Walking maintains some muscle, sure, but it doesn't build the explosive strength you need to recover from a stumble or get up from the floor if you do fall. Let me tell you about Dorothy. She's 72, a retired librarian from Ohio who loved her morning walks. 2 miles, every day, rain or shine. But one afternoon she tripped over her grandkid's toy in the living room and went down hard. She wasn't hurt badly, just shaken. But when she tried to get up, she couldn't. Her legs simply didn't have the strength. She had to crawl to the couch and use it to pull herself up. That moment terrified her more than the fall itself. She came to me asking what had gone wrong. I had her try to stand from a chair without using her hands. She couldn't do it even once. Her walking routine had kept her cardiovascular system healthy but had done almost nothing for the power in her hips and thighs. We started her on sit-to-stand practice. 3 sets of 8 reps every other day. Within 3 weeks, she could stand smoothly without hands. Within 2 months, she got up from the floor unassisted for the first time in years. She told me she felt like she'd gotten a part of herself back. Here's how you do it safely. Sit in a sturdy chair with your feet flat on the floor, hip-width apart. Cross your arms over your chest or hold them straight out in front of you. Lean forward slightly so your nose is over your toes, then press through your heels and stand up. No rocking, no hands. If you can't do it yet, that's okay. Start by using one finger on the armrest for balance, then progress to no hands as you get stronger. Lower yourself back down with control. That lowering phase, the eccentric part, is just as important as standing up. It builds strength and teaches your muscles to absorb force, which is exactly what they need to do when you're catching yourself. Do 3 sets of 8 to 10 reps, 3 times a week. If you can do more than 15 in a row easily, progress to a lower chair or hold a light weight at your chest. The beauty of this movement is that it's a perfect test and a perfect treatment. Can't do it? Then you know exactly where to start. Can do it easily? Great, you've got a baseline and you can load it or change the tempo to keep progressing. And it takes less than 3 minutes. Now here's where it gets interesting. Movement number 2. Single leg standing. This is the one most people skip, and it's the one that separates those who fall from those who don't. If you can't stand on one leg for at least 10 seconds, your fall risk skyrockets. Some analyses suggest that people over 60 who cannot balance on one leg for 10 seconds have a significantly higher risk of death from any cause over the next decade, even after accounting for other health factors. That's not because standing on one leg prevents disease. It's because balance is a window into how well your brain, nerves, muscles, and inner ear are communicating. And when that communication breaks down, everything from walking to driving to simply turning your head becomes more dangerous. Walking, even long daily walks, barely touches your balance system. When you walk, both feet are on the ground most of the time. You're moving in a straight line on flat, predictable surfaces. But real life isn't flat or predictable. You step off a curb. You pivot to grab something from the counter. You stand on one leg to put on a shoe. Every one of those moments requires single leg stability, and if you never practice it, your body forgets how to do it. The neural pathways weaken. The small stabilizer muscles around your hips and ankles stop firing correctly. And one day you shift your weight, your body doesn't respond in time, and down you go. Here's what happened to Alan. 74, a retired electrician who walked his dog every evening. Solid health, no major complaints. One morning he was getting dressed and lifted one foot to put on a sock. He wobbled, overcorrected, and fell sideways into the dresser. Bruised ribs, 2 weeks of pain, and a dent in his confidence. When I asked him to stand on one leg during his checkup, he lasted about 3 seconds before grabbing the wall. He was stunned. He thought his daily walks meant he was fit. But walking had never asked his body to stabilize on one leg, so his body had quietly lost that skill. We worked on it for just 2 minutes a day. Stand on one leg near a counter for support, aiming for 10 seconds, then switch legs. 3 sets on each side. Within a month, he hit 20 seconds per leg. Within 2 months, he could stand on one leg with his eyes closed, which is an advanced balance challenge that really sharpens your proprioception. Here's your protocol. Stand next to a sturdy counter or wall. Lift one foot a few inches off the ground, knee bent. Keep your standing leg straight but not locked. Hold for 10 seconds. If you wobble, lightly touch the counter, but try to use as little support as possible. Your goal is to build up to 30 seconds per leg without support. Once that's easy, progress by closing your eyes for 5 to 10 seconds, or by standing on a soft surface like a folded towel or balance pad. Do this every single day. It takes 90 seconds total, and the return on investment is enormous. Your ankle muscles will wake up. Your hip stabilizers will fire correctly. And your brain will start predicting and correcting your balance before you even realize you're off center. That's the magic of single leg training. It makes your body smarter. One more thing. Balance training has a very short shelf life. If you stop, you lose it fast, much faster than you lose strength or endurance. So this isn't a 6-week program. This is a daily habit, like brushing your teeth. Stand on one leg while you wait for your coffee to brew. While you're on a phone call. While you're watching the news. Make it invisible, make it automatic, and you'll never lose it again. Alright, now we get to movement number 1. The big one. The simplest move that doctors say rewires your nervous system faster than anything else and protects you more powerfully than the first 2 combined. Are you ready? It's getting up and down from the floor. And I can already hear some of you thinking, I can't get down on the floor, that's the whole problem. Stay with me. Because even practicing the movement in stages, even just lowering yourself halfway or learning to get back up with minimal help, transforms your body and your confidence in ways that shock people every single time. Here's why this matters so much. The ability to get down to the floor and back up without assistance is one of the most potent markers of longevity ever identified. A widely cited movement assessment found that people who could sit on the floor and stand back up with minimal or no hand support had a fraction of the mortality risk compared to those who needed significant help. The test scores people on a scale, deducting points for every time you use a hand, knee, or forearm for support. And the results were striking. For every point lost, mortality risk increased. Those who scored the lowest were several times more likely to die within the following years compared to those who scored highest. This wasn't just about fitness. It was about neuromuscular integration, joint mobility, strength, balance, and body awareness all rolled into one functional movement. Think about it. Getting up from the floor requires your hips, knees, ankles, shoulders, and core to work together in a coordinated sequence. It requires balance, flexibility, and enough strength to lift your entire body weight through a range of motion most people stop using after age 50. When you lose this ability, your world shrinks. You stop playing on the floor with grandkids. You fear dropping something because you might not be able to retrieve it. And if you do fall, the inability to get up can turn a minor stumble into a life-threatening emergency. People have lain on the floor for hours or even days after a fall simply because they couldn't get up and couldn't reach a phone. The physical injury is often less damaging than the time spent immobile. Let me tell you about Margaret. 68, former school teacher, lived alone. She'd been walking daily for years but had avoided anything that required getting on the floor. One evening, she dropped her phone under the couch. She got down on her knees to reach it, and when she tried to stand back up, she couldn't. Her legs wouldn't cooperate, and she didn't have the arm strength to push herself up from kneeling. She ended up crawling to a chair and pulling herself up, exhausted and embarrassed. She called me the next day, voice shaking, asking if this meant she needed to move into assisted living. I told her it meant she needed to practice. We started very gently. First, just lowering herself to a kneeling position while holding onto a sturdy chair, then standing back up with support. Then, sitting back on her heels from kneeling. Then, transitioning from kneeling to sitting on the floor with legs out to the side. Every step we took our time. Within 6 weeks, she could sit on the floor cross-legged and stand back up using just one hand on the chair for balance. 3 months in, she did it with no hands. She cried when she showed me. She said it felt like she'd unlocked a door she thought was closed forever. Here's how you start, no matter where you are right now. If you can't get on the floor yet, that's fine. Begin by practicing the sit-to-stand without hands that we covered earlier, because that's the foundation. Then, practice a controlled descent. Stand next to a sturdy chair or countertop. Step one foot back into a lunge position, then lower your back knee toward the floor while holding the support. Pause there. This is kneeling with assistance. From kneeling, sit back on your heels if you can. If not, just hold the kneeling position and stand back up. Do this 3 times, 3 days a week. Over time, reduce how much you rely on the support. Your goal is to kneel down and stand up using only one hand, then one finger, then nothing. Once kneeling feels strong, progress to sitting. From kneeling, shift your hips to one side and lower yourself to sit with both legs to the side, like a mermaid position. Use your hands for control. Pause, breathe, then reverse the movement. Shift back to kneeling, then stand. This transition, kneeling to sitting to kneeling to standing, is the full sequence. At first, use as much support as you need. A chair, a coffee table, a workout partner. But every week, try to use a little less help. Your body will adapt faster than you think. The strength comes back. The coordination comes back. And suddenly, the floor stops being a place you avoid. It becomes a place you own. For those who are already comfortable on the floor, here's your challenge. Sit cross-legged on the floor without using your hands to lower yourself down, then stand back up without using your hands. It's harder than it sounds. Most people have to shift to one side, post a hand, push off. But with practice, you can learn to sit straight down and stand straight up, using only your legs and core. That level of control is life-changing. It means your body is strong, mobile, and coordinated in all planes of motion. It means you can handle whatever life throws at you, literally. Now let's talk about why these three movements together create something greater than the sum of their parts. The sit-to-stand builds the foundational leg strength and power you need for everything else. The single leg balance sharpens your nervous system and stabilizers, making sure you can respond instantly when the ground is uneven or you're caught off guard. And the floor work integrates everything, full body strength, mobility, coordination, confidence, into one functional package. Do all three consistently, and you create a resilience that walking alone simply cannot deliver. Here's the other piece no one mentions. These movements are also diagnostic tools. They tell you where you are right now. Can't stand from a chair without hands? You know your legs need work. Can't balance on one leg for 10 seconds? Your stabilizers and proprioception need attention. Can't get off the floor? You need mobility and strength across a wider range. And once you know where you are, you have a clear path forward. No guessing, no expensive tests, no complicated programs. Just honest movement and steady progress. The science backs this up in a big way. Multiple research groups studying aging and longevity have found that functional movement capacity, the ability to do real-world tasks like these, predicts health outcomes better than almost any other single measure. Better than cholesterol levels, better than blood pressure, better than weight. Your body's ability to move well is the most honest report card you have. And the beautiful part is that it's never too late to improve the grade. People in their 70s, 80s, even 90s have gained strength, balance, and mobility with consistent practice. Your nervous system remains adaptable your entire life. Your muscles can still grow. Your joints can still move more freely. You just have to give them the right stimulus. Here's your daily sequence. It takes less than 10 minutes. Start with 3 sets of sit-to-stands, 8 to 10 reps each set. Rest a minute between sets. Next, do your single leg balance, 3 sets of 30 seconds per leg, using support if needed. Finally, practice your floor transitions. If you're just starting, do 3 assisted kneels and stands. If you're more advanced, do 3 full sit-to-stand from the floor sequences. That's it. 10 minutes. You can do this in your living room in your pajamas. No gym, no equipment, no excuses. And here's the mindset shift I want you to make. Stop thinking of exercise as something you do to burn calories or because you're supposed to. Start thinking of it as a skill practice. You're teaching your body to be capable. You're rehearsing the movements that will keep you independent. Every rep is a deposit in the bank of your future mobility. Every second of balance practice is a message to your nervous system that says, stay sharp, I'm going to need you. This isn't vanity. This isn't optional. This is survival skills for aging well. One more story. His name was Robert, 79, a retired carpenter. He walked every day, but his knees ached, his balance was shaky, and he'd stopped doing anything that felt remotely risky. His daughter worried he'd fall and end up in a nursing home. He was skeptical when I suggested these 3 movements. He thought they were too simple to matter. But he tried them anyway, mostly to prove me wrong. Within 2 weeks, his knee pain decreased. The sit-to-stand strengthened the muscles around his knees, taking pressure off the joints. Within a month, he stopped using the wall for balance and could stand on one leg while putting on his shoes. At 3 months, he got down on the floor to play with his great-grandson for the first time in a decade. He told me later that he didn't feel like he'd just gotten stronger. He felt like he'd become a different person. More confident. More alive. He said he'd spent the last 10 years slowly shrinking his world, and these 3 movements gave it back to him. That's what I want for you. Not just safety, though that matters. Not just strength, though that's critical. I want you to feel capable again. I want you to walk through your home, through the world, knowing that if something unexpected happens, your body will respond. I want you to stop worrying about falling and start living fully. These 3 movements can do that. They're simple, but they're not easy, especially at first. And that's exactly why they work. Let me leave you with this. Your body wants to move well. It's designed for it. But after 60, you have to be intentional. You have to practice the movements that daily life no longer requires. Walking is wonderful, but it's not enough. You need to sit, stand, balance, and get up from the floor. You need to challenge your body in ways that feel a little awkward, a little hard, a little unfamiliar. Because that's where the growth happens. That's where you stop the slow decline and start building back what you thought was gone. So here's my question for you. Which of these 3 movements will you start today, and what's one small win you're aiming for this week? Drop a comment and let me know. I'll be reading every one, and I'll be cheering you on.